Hey, Brian King here. I'm going to be really vulnerable and really open with you in this video. And feel free to share it because this is an important message for all parents. And I want as many parents to benefit from this as possible. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you'll know that about a month and a half, 2 months ago, my oldest son, Zachary, tried to take his own life, and he almost succeeded. After several days in ICU, where they worked to save his life, to keep him alive and get him through it, he went to an inpatient unit, and we thought that time was successful and that he was back on the right track. Well, unfortunately, over this past weekend, he got into that bad place again, where he was planning to try again. So he's in inpatient again. And this time we're not going to be in such a hurry to bring him home because we want to make sure that he really gets to a place he needs to be in mentally, emotionally, so he is better equipped to engage the world. Why am I telling you this? Well, for the past 10 years, I have been working in the arena of helping parents that have kids on the spectrum, ADHD, to help prepare their kids for life. And lo and behold, I missed some shit, okay? We're all students, we're all learning. And Zach was not as prepared for the world as I thought he was. He was not as ready. What I was teaching him wasn't enough. And in conversations with people, what I basically determined, or they pointed out to me, Mr. Blind Spot, is I wasn't tough enough. I wasn't willing to be a bad guy often enough. And by the bad guy, I don't mean literally you did bad things. But I didn't require him to be in uncomfortable situations in order for him to learn that he could do it. I would encourage, I would be very soft with him. I would hope that my modeling alone would do enough. No. I was afraid to be a bad guy with my own kid. And it's cost him dearly. Because the skills he's resisting is skills he's very capable of doing. Doing more socializing, forming more close relationships, taking more risks at work, self-advocating. These are all things he could do. But he's got so much fear of doing it because I never required him to do it. I just encouraged him to do it. Do you see the difference? Encouragement versus requirement. Requirement is you're going to do this or you're going to lose something. And there's more leverage that we have over our kids than just taking away their video game, but we're not willing to go there because we don't want to deal with the tantrum. We don't want to deal with the hurtful words. Okay? We need to grow up, people. We need to be ready to receive the backlash and learn how to depersonalize it. Learn how to make it not about you. And I know that that's hard for many of you to do, but it's necessary. Or you're going to raise a kid that's a great big puss who can't take on the world. And I was not willing to stand up to him enough. But fortunately, we didn't lose him this time around. He's still with us and he's doing the work to get back home. So what do you do when you realize that where your kid is now, you are partially responsible for? Because he's an adult, he can make up his own mind. But I had a lot of influence on where he ended up, okay? So what's the first thing you do when you realize, wow, I messed up here. I missed something huge. Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to own it. No bullshit, people. Don't rationalize it. Don't make excuses. Don't say, well, my dad wasn't there for me, so what do you expect? Bullshit. Okay? You are your own person. You choose what you are going to bring to the table as far as being a parent. I chose to be way too lax I was too permissive in certain areas and I was not strong enough in others. So part of my work is I got to stop that. I got to be willing to step up and say, this is going to make you uncomfortable, and that's good because you need to learn that you can do this, even though it's uncomfortable. Because we know the comfort zone is our kids' favorite place to live, and it's the most dangerous place to live because the world doesn't exist there. The world exists in the tough, in the challenge, in the hard, and that's where we got to put them. Because they're thinking short term. I want an immediate gratification. I want immediate pleasure. We as their parents are responsible for thinking long term. So we know if they are not doing the uncomfortable stuff now and building up that grit, building up that ability, they're going to have a real hard time or they will be entirely screwed. So don't bullshit yourself. Own it. Okay? And what do you do typically when you make a mistake? You make excuses. Well, it's not really my fault because, no, you apologize, hopefully, and you can do that with your kid too. Let them know, hey, I've been doing my best up until now. I thought what I was doing was going to be helpful to you. I was wrong. I am so very sorry that I went down that road with you, that I made that choice. And I hope you'll forgive me because we're in this together. One of the things I teach my clients is that your child and you are students of each other. Your child is learning from you, and you're learning from your child what skills and knowledge you need to raise this child. I didn't know I had to become an expert on Asperger's until Zach was diagnosed. Before then, I thought I knew I had what I already needed. No, I had to go read 20 books. I had to go to seminars. I had to go to parent group. I had to hook myself up to get the skills and resources I need to raise him effectively. And I missed some spots, clearly. So I apologize to my kids. When I screw up, I own it, I apologize, and then do the next thing. Make a plan to move forward. Where do we go from here? We don't relive the past. I don't say, well, you can't blame Dad for that because remember that time when you did that thing? That was a lot worse than what I did. That's 8th grade crap. That's comparison. That's, you did it worse than me, or what about you? I know you are, but what am I? Really? Are we going to play that game with our kids? No, we're grown-ups. We're going to own our stuff. We're going to make amends, and we're going to plan on how to be better. What are we going to do now that we haven't been doing all along? What can we expect from each other? Part of Zach coming back home is going to be me agreeing to be a tough and hold him accountable for stuff that I know, many of which is going to end up with him being pissed at me. But when I think of what's at stake here, him being so afraid of simple adult things that he wants to kill himself. A lot of that's on me, and he needs to learn that he can do this and not just survive it, not tolerate it, but build confidence through it. That's what he really needs. Being able to engage the tough stuff and feel confident, feel strong, feel resilient. That's what I need to do with him now and what I need to start doing more with his brothers. And damn it, I'm going to do that because there's too much at stake. And lastly, like I've been hinting at, do it even if it hurts. Because it's not about being your kid's buddy. You are, some cases, you're the drill sergeant saying, you got to do this because imagine that the enemy's out there and they're shooting guns at you. And if you don't know how to do this, you're dead. I know you don't see that right now. You see this guy yelling at you and you see the barracks behind you where your comfy bed is and you'd rather be there instead of face down in the mud. But guess what? This is what you're doing right now. No discussion. Because in the long run, this is what you need to know how to do. When it comes to video games, do you want to gain experience points so that you can up a level in your game? Or do you want experience points in relationships so you can build the support network you need to be successful for the rest of your life? Your kid thinking short term is going to think, oh, well, but if I get experience levels, I get to get this reward and that reward. Great. Is that going to pay your bill? Having that little item, is that going to get you a job? No. Close the damn computer and get to life work. That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to come down to. Now, I just decided to start a support group with my clients. We're going to do it all online, kind of like this. Technology is a beautiful thing. And like I said, I've got some skill gaps too. So one of the things I'm going to do is invite guest experts in to teach them as well as myself. I've got a lot more to learn. And now I'm really clear on what some of that stuff is. And as parents, we support each other, we grow together. So some of the stuff's going to come from me, of course, because I still know a lot of stuff. I still know a lot of stuff that typical parents don't. There's stuff that I miss. And now I know what additional skills and knowledge I need to get to do right by my kids. And this support group I'm starting is open to the world because it's virtual. And there's so much awesome stuff going to take place there. And over the past 8 years or so on Facebook, I have amassed such an incredible network of experts that I can tap into and invite to come in and teach us on anxiety, teach us on depression, how to manage homework time, how to handle problem behavior. You name the topic. Chances are I'm connected with somebody who's an expert on it who can teach us. But that's only if you're in the group. You've got to show up, you've got to make the investment, or you're not going to learn the stuff you need. So I'm just putting that out there. If that's something you're interested in, let me know and we'll get you connected. But in any case, I just wanted to share this experience with you because if you can't have the humility to admit that as a parent, there's stuff that you don't know jack about, you've got to be able to own that, put your ego aside, and be teachable. Allow yourself to receive new information. Allow yourself to be a student of other parents, of your own child. Because unless you keep learning, there's stuff that you're never going to be able to teach your kid. And your child is going to suffer. And isn't life hard enough? Life is filled with enough suffering. Now imagine what it's like if you send them out into the world unprepared. We cannot allow that to be acceptable. So that's my message for you. I hope this has been helpful. If so, let me know. Feel free to share it with others who could benefit from this. And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate your time. This is Brian, and we'll talk again soon.